is derived from the leaves of the coca plant. When cocaine enters the body, it has a strong effect on body functions by acting as an imp on the brain. Large overdose of cocaine causes convulsions, then death. Cocaine causes unusual and often unpredictable feelings and actions. In his ignorance, Marty took that dare, little knowing the eventual horror that lay in the deadly white powder.
Marty, have you seen the pinking shears I bought last week? Can't seem to find them anywhere. Marty, you don't seem right. I'm worried about you. There's something wrong. I'm going to take you down to Dr. Peters this afternoon for a checkup.
No, I'm all right.
As his body gradually built up intolerance, he needed more and more of the drug.
Ooh, I'm excited for tonight. All right, let me get the banner off and music off. Okay. Good evening. Bridge Sky here. Kiss Recovery 101. I'm so excited. Risky relationships. Tonight is very, very personal. Very much hits home. And I'm going to try not to be emotional, but like literally not even 2 hours ago, my own preteen, she'll be a teenager technically next week, is not going to be living with me for a little while. But I'm okay with it because I feel like this will give me some time to breathe. Mm-hmm. And also tonight, we're going to discuss 6 boundaries for teens that, according to this article, this website, parentingteensandtweens.com, that they'll thank you for later. So I'm inspired to, motivated, and we're going to talk through it tonight with my monthly special edition co-host, Sarah. You want to say hi, Sarah?
Yes, hello. Thanks for having me on again, of course, Bridge. I'm actually looking forward to tonight's episode just because of, not only are we good friends, but we're roommates. So I am present for a lot of the stuff that's been going on, and it's pretty, I don't even know how the right word to use for it other than it's, I don't know, it causes a whole whirlwind of emotions, from sadness to fear to anger, literally you name it, and it's been present in the household now for the last couple weeks.
I feel so bad. Yes, you've been bear witness and thrown in the drama of it all, and teenage angst. And I tell you, the first go-to everyone says to me is, "Oh, just remember what you were like when you were that age." That does not apply to me.
No.
I was never like that. I guarantee, generational stuff, tech stuff, whatever. But I didn't grow up in a household like that where I had that opportunity. Like, I knew firsthand I needed to be independent and not, mum's the word, don't talk, don't speak, you're seen, not heard. So anyway, if you're listening, it's live for a reason. Kiss is, ooh, that was loud. Keep it simple, stupid. And what's great about tonight is, so I did a lot of research, and the videos, none of them apply to people in recovery. Okay. Families in recovery, whether you grew up in a family with substance use disorders, you're a person with a substance use disorder, or like myself, now have come over and I'm in recovery. But my older children saw the challenges and struggles and all that. And so, none of the videos, I'd say I at least went through 8 videos, and 3 of them, I could only stand 2 minutes because they both started with, well, if your teenager rolls their eyes and you know they're not listening to, I'm like, rolls their eyes. My teenagers 0 to 10. Like there was no rolling the eyes. It went from, you know, this little amount of, I could tell she wasn't listening to me, to like completely running away, stealing cars.
Yes.
I mean, just crazy, crazy stuff, using substances. So it's been a firestorm, but I'm happy to share the knowledge. And we're going to go through these 6 boundaries for angry, rebellious, disrespectful teenagers, specifically for daughters that once adored you. That's personal. Discussing the overwhelming, hurtful conversations or unsafe situations that have added painful stings as a person in recovery or struggling with a substance use disorder, because she has this knowledge of what, you know, I went through, and she did try in the beginning. Luckily now I got 4 years coming up here. In the beginning, she tried to throw some past stuff, but luckily through lots of work and the steps and my recovery circles, I've been able to heal, and I've been able to forgive myself, and none of that applied to me. And there's that beautiful book, 4 Agreements. I do none of that was about taking that personally. None of that was about me. That was all about her. So I have some awesome clips. Okay, so I did find a great video with this awesome TED Talk, which I will definitely share the link. I want everybody to get the whole thing. It's all about, this is natural, right? This is the science of, you know, typical teenage stuff. However, it's a different world, right? The social media is nuts.
Yes.
So Sarah, now your daughter, luckily, she's got hopefully a couple of years before but she's been able to also bear witness to this chaos.
Yes.
And what would you say? We haven't even talked about this, but is there anything that comes to mind that she's kind of said, or that you've kind of discussed with her about, you know, what might be coming down? like I had no idea that this was coming. It was such a flip. And so quickly she went from basically she was my mini me. She loved me. She wanted every minute with me, and to just like hating me, everything's my fault. And I understand like those elements, because I'm the safe person, but I had no idea how much it was going to hurt. So
Yeah.
Go ahead. Anything you got on that?
Well, sorry, I'm like over here choking on air just to let everybody know. So no, it's a blessing and a curse. I mean, obviously nobody wants to watch their kids or friends' kids go through what has been currently going on in our household. However, the blessing comes from the fact that I've been able to kind of utilize it as a learning lesson for her before she has to go through it. Like you mentioned at the beginning here, Bridge, that all these people reference like, oh, what was it like when you were a kid, or blah, blah, blah. I was much like you. I grew up in a household that I wasn't afforded the luxury to act out in that manner. I literally would have been beaten.
Mm-hmm.
I watched my sister get beaten, my brother, you name it. I watched all of them act out and the consequences that they got. So I had to grow up fast enough and know, hey, I want to go out and do all these things too, but I'm going to be smart about it.
Right.
And so I don't know. I've tried having conversations with Juliet, like, and it's not like we're trying to control her in the manner that, you can't do this and you can't do that. If you're going to go out and do something, be smart about it. Don't do drugs you don't fucking know anything about.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, most of the drugs that are out there now, we, as people in recovery, we know, especially with the fentanyl crisis right now,
Mm-hmm.
like, we try to inform her. It's not just a don't do this and don't do that. It's this is the reality right now of what's you're facing in your world. So yeah, personally, this has been a learning thing to kind of throw at my daughter. Like, do you see what's happening here? These are the consequences. And am I free to speak about
Absolutely.
anything? Okay, so she came home the other night, delivered by the cops, and now is facing felony charges.
Correct.
So, and she doesn't and then she had the audacity to sit and cop attitude to them and you. And I thought, little girl, you don't even understand the severity of what a felony could do. The likely chance of them pursuing a felony charge is probably very minimum. I mean, let's get real. But the fact is, if she was charged, that would fuck up the rest of her life. For 80 something fucking years, she's gonna look back and go, why the fuck didn't my mom do something or whatever? And then she's gonna blame you. You're gonna be the bad person because she wouldn't listen. Like, it's a catch-22 no matter what you do. And so I've been trying to let Lily know, like, these are the fucking consequences. Like, you don't have to live it to see how it works out. Here's your opportunity to see it live, basically.
And that's the reality, is that now she's got the record. She already had a file. Now she's got a record. Now I got 2 Horde appearances coming up with her. She's not even 13 yet. Yikes. Okay. But let's get into it, because, again, in the recovery community, I thought I'd be prepared. I'm training. I'm a certified peer recovery specialist. There's the ORs, open-ended questions, and, affirming, and I've used all these techniques. They were all wonderful until she did the flip, and it's like out the window. So we're going to get into these 6 beautiful boundaries for teenagers, but also it's live for a reason. Comments, questions, definitely any of your experiences or advice, please share. Let's go right in. I got 3 short clips, all from the same TED Talk. So first one I'm going to play, because it kind of explains that brain science of why they act out like this. Here we go. I think a lot of people know, but I just wanted to clarify in case it's the first time ever hearing of this and you don't have a teenager yet, and you also weren't one of those rebellious. Like, I was rebellious, but I was like you, Sarah. I was very smart about it.
Yes.
I made sure that, I ditched school and did things, but
Covered your ass.
I covered my tracks.
The second aspect introduces us to another scientist, Deborah Jurgelin-Todd. Now, she conducted an experiment using MRI scanners. She put adults and teenagers into them and showed them pictures in order to see which parts of their brains they used to interpret what they saw. Here's one of the pictures. Now, all adults shown this picture interpreted it as fear. Half the teenagers who saw it interpreted it as sadness, shock, confusion, or anger. Why? Well, what Jurgelin-Todd discovered was that adults used the prefrontal cortex to interpret what they saw, whereas teenagers used their amygdalas, obviously avoiding using the PFC because it's still a work in progress. But what's the amygdala for? Mostly for providing emotional rather than rational responses. So, not only are teenagers avoiding making decisions, when they do make them, they're often using the wrong parts of their brains. The second
Okay, so that was a great way to straightforward clarify.
Yeah.
And that totally makes sense. And the picture was I was going to flash it, but I forgot to get it edited and put out here. But yeah, to me right away, I'm like, ooh, that looks like fear. Someone's scared. But it's kind of cool to see how different interpretations came from, the teenagers. But then, okay, good. I understand that, right? They're thinking with the caveman part of their brain. This is what I call it.
Yes.
Okay. So that's natural. That makes sense. Now, let's go into part 2 of the clip, which will align with one of the pro tips. So here we go. Oh, by the way, pro tips, we like to have at least 3, but they're professional tips. Okay, not from myself. I can tell you right now, I don't know what the F I'm doing. I mean, I'm doing the best I can, and I feel like I've given her so much freedom, and literally she slaps me in the face with it.
Yes.
And then I pull it back, and then we, I take away some privileges, and then we go back to phone, no phone, and then, friends, no friends, and then only certain friends. And it's been back and forth. And I had not had no direct support from her dad.
Correct.
Here and there. So, and even with the friends that have tried you and, people that I love and trust have been trying, but also there's the element she does not care. And it's not that she doesn't care, it's just that her brain's wired to she's not capable of thinking of the capacity, the deep understanding of what her actions are really doing and
Yes.
affecting everyone around her. Okay, here we go. Part 2. Oh, did you want to say something first?
Yeah. And I think that speaks volumes to where her mindset is at and what parts of the brains she's utilizing, because as that was mentioned in the clip, adults, we use that prefrontal cortex where we're more rational and we can understand the consequences, we can understand where we're coming from, and we have the capacity to look in different perspectives other than what is currently in front of us. She is stuck in this very present moment, life or death almost, like feelings. Like she can't understand where, okay, this person's angry at me because they already took the time to think and process that if I keep doing this, I'm going to end up here, here, and here. She doesn't comprehend that. So now she's just looking at what's in front of her, which is an angry adult. And we know that we're not coming out. It's not really anger. We're fearful because we love the shit out of her. And she's not comprehending what the knowledge that we know, the experiences that we have already lived through. We already know where she's heading. And she might have some inkling or some idea, but she doesn't understand the depth of what she's doing. Not truly. So
And that's what's scary is that as a person, who went through all this, her brain's not developed. They're not developed yet. It's going to take till their mid-20s. And then you bring in marijuana. And again, like, it's not the same marijuana either. I mean, everything is laced nowadays. So that's also, I can tell you right now, I go to meetings, I sit in these recovery circles, and I can tell you right now amongst my peers who stopped brain developing not correctly, but developing in regularly. Like, I could see who's emotionally
stunted.
Yep, stunted, immature, and unable to have those deeper understandings and just even, I mean, just so immature, some folks. But again, I'm like, okay, well, I could kind of tell. See, I think you and I, because I didn't start my use until full blown use, I was 21. But I was probably a responsible, independent adult mindset by the time I was 14.
Yep.
I didn't have a choice. So then you kick in 21, where they say that's when you kind of stop with whatever. I was already pretty there. So, okay, let's do clip 2, and then we're going to get into these boundaries. And again, listeners, you listening, questions, comments, anything you want to point out, please feel free. This is live right now. Here we go.
What can we do with all this knowledge? Firstly, I'd suggest don't ask teenagers questions that begin with the word why. Rather, get them to recount their behavior to you. Get them to tell you what they did. You'll arrive at the same place in the end, but perhaps without challenging what may have appeared as an irrational action. Secondly, avoid questions that contain more than one concept in them. There's enough going on in the teenage brain already without adding more confusion to it. Remember, the teen brain, when faced with something new, will often offer an emotional rather than a rational response. Keeping things simple reduces the likelihood of the teenager defaulting into fight or flight mode. And in terms of reinforcing the pathways, the advice would be to give rests. Allow the teen brain time to take in and retain. So here's the thing. I promised a suggestion, and it's this. Why don't we tell them? Why don't we share some of this knowledge to give them maybe some understanding and maybe even control of their own development? There's a lot talked these days about motivation and its impact on learning. And obviously, motivation is now known to be closely linked to identity. A greater openness to understanding ourselves leads to a greater openness to improving ourselves. Maybe, if we gave them a little bit more information about what was going on, it could help them. It certainly couldn't hurt. Thank you. So what can
Keep it simple. So when he said that, I realized, that knowledge piece, I would get excited that she actually was sitting down. A lot of times I'm waiting for her to open that door to have this conversation. And then boom, he nailed it. I'm like, here's this. And oh, did you think about this? And no wonder she zoned out. And I'm hoping, like after the conversation, I'm like, I wonder how much she actually even soaked in. So that is really a great pro tip when you get those little opportunities. And Sarah, there was a video I sent to you, which it was one of these hard ones to listen to, where they just seem to be not even understand what I've had my hands full with. Like they're talking about rolling their eyes and scuffing at you, and oh, they didn't pick up their clothes. Shut the front door. Didn't pick up her clothes. How about she sneaking out the window? I woke up one morning and there's multiple children. I say children, but also 12 and 13-year-olds,
Yep.
all cooped up in a room that snuck in over in the middle of the night. So yeah, I don't care about no rolling eyes. But anyway, but before we get into that video, let's get into some of these. I'm sure people are listening. Like, let's get to the good stuff. Okay, so this article, I'll share again that link, and I'll also be sharing the clip. We have one more clip from that TED Talk, but I'll share that whole full one so everybody could check on it.
Can I just
Oh, of
jump
course.
in quick?
Yes, please do.
Okay, so just listening to this it's frustrating, and I think this is where you're coming from, and now I can understand, especially specifically with this clip. He goes about saying these are what's not working, aka overloading their mind, keeping it simple. How the hell, especially when he said give their brains time to process. How many times have you calmly responded to her irrational behavior and given her the opportunity to decompress or think about the situation, but instead of utilizing that time, within 5 minutes she's already used her emotional caveman brain to go, I'm gonna run and jump out the fucking window and not come home and keep running. And now not only has she created this distress between you and her, we go back to the fear and all these other things. And how, I guess, where's the freaking solution? Where's the solution? Because you offered her a moment to reflect, to take time, and she took advantage of it within 30 seconds.
Yes.
And just fled. And then when you come back to say, hey, or work on it or move forward, now you can't. So where the hell is the freaking solution? Sorry.
Right. Thank you. And that's why I think these boundaries are going to be great. And, okay, thank you, Sarah. You're so wonderful. Okay, I'm going to give myself some credit. So knowing all these things, I made a point to every day she'd come home from school, I had snacks and food ready, because when we go into the recovery, meeting world, halt. Are you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? Right? You check those 4 things before the go-to is a substance use, right? So I know right away, feed the children. I feed them all right when they get home, just a snack before dinner, whatever, anything. And so, but here's the biggest, I think, for me in my situation is the circle of friends. It's the friends, and it's not I'm not blaming them, but they all are influencing each other. They're all trying to one up each other.
They egg each other on.
Yep. And they all want these bragging rights, and they're all like, so I think that's also, and I've tried to do everything that I could think of. I've included her therapist, I've included her school, I've included, but I think the biggest person that really she wanted to step in, now has stepped in, is her dad, but again, a lot of folks don't get that opportunity. And I luckily had Bahana, and I had my sponsor Marcy. I had lots of people that genuinely love her, willing to step in, and we tried one day and she was just not having that either. She was like, oh, meltdown. But anyway, so hopefully some stuff comes of that. But let's get into, okay, let's talk about this article. So it says, honestly, boundaries are love. Setting boundaries teaches teens that they are valued, but even more importantly, that they should value themselves. A teen that understands their boundaries can let other people know who they are, what they stand for, how they want to be treated, and what is acceptable behavior. This can be important as teens starting seeking out new friendships and romantic relationships. So ensure Okay, now, so here, let's see. Lead by example. It says modeling is the most important thing that we can do for our teens. They may seem like they are not listening to us, but they are always watching. The more you show them what healthy boundaries look like, the more they can employ these for themselves. So again, I was in a toxic relationship and she saw what happened with that. And it wasn't that's surviving that in the sense was allowed me to uneven know what the heck boundaries were, first off. And I haven't been in a relationship since because I needed time to really comprehend that. And again, I'm still working on just because boundaries have to be flexible. They have to be clear, they have to be kind. But for me, with my 5 children, they have to be individual to those human beings as individuals. So they're different ones for these. So, okay. So what type of boundaries should you set for your teen? Boundaries are a very personal thing. They also should be fluid and flexible to each situation. Oh, see, I didn't even read that. I didn't cheat. Consider your child's maturity, past behavior, and family values when setting boundaries. And that's the thing. My daughter's very intelligent.
It's frustrating.
It's very frustrating. Okay, so here are 6 boundaries to consider setting for your teen. Curfews. Many studies have shown that curfews keep teens safe and out of trouble. They also provide a sense of stability for teens and give them an out for peer pressure regarding risky behavior. So that one speaks for itself. And okay, this article, I tried that.
Yeah.
And she literally just jumping out the window or having all the people coming over or like literally started running away, being gone a couple nights. Oh, jeez. Technology, boundary number 2. Setting boundaries around device usage has become the ban of every parent's existence or being. But we all know that an increasing number of studies show the link between the use of social media and depression, self-esteem issues, and anxiety in young people. Okay.
Can I just jump
yes,
in here?
Please do.
This is absolutely infuriating to me. And I'm sorry. I know I'm turning into that old grumpy adult who's like, I don't understand why these kids these days, blah, blah. No, but seriously, it's been proven time and time again the issues that are resulting in the technology with the cell phones, with the social media, everything. Why, instead of spending millions of fucking dollars to tell kids to quit fucking smoking, which by the way, like nobody fucking smokes anymore, why don't we fucking make a rule that nobody's allowed to have social media accounts until they're fucking 18? Really? Why don't you regulate some of that shit instead of fucking tobacco and alcohol? Fuck off.
Right.
Why don't you get to the fucking root of it all, which is the social media that's egging these kids on to fucking use and do all this other shit? Get rid of that shit. Ban it. Make it a fucking adult-only content. Whatever the fuck it is that needs to be done, somebody needs to fucking step up, and that shit needs to fucking go the fuck out the window. Sorry.
No. That's beautiful. And they lie on the birthday thing. But look I know for many things that I've done online, COVID brought out those like new, awesome, well, it went both ways, but I like that now just to use Gusto to get paid. I had to show my ID, both sides. I had to do a scan of like turning my head and all that. So they could definitely, but that would cost them millions and billions of dollars
But that they're on stupid shit
that they would lose out on money. So it's all about money. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. Here's the thing that I think of when you say that though. Why aren't the schools stepping in and banning that? Because here's the thing. I took her phone. Right? But she goes right to school and they all have their phones, right?
Yes.
And I know there was a point when the school was like trying to enforce that. Now here's my conflict. My ex-partner, her dad, because she mostly lived with me, he's fighting me on it. He's like, no, she needs her phone. Her phone, I took it away, he gives it back. The phone disappeared. I don't know, whatever was happening. He buys her another one. So again, I was not even able to set that, taking that privilege out of the element because no matter what, the friends have it.
Every time she has the phone.
Right. So well, go ahead. I don't know what you want to go with.
Well, no, I'm just going to say the reason you've asked for him to take the phone away, the phone is not fucking necessary. And she tries to manipulate him by stating, oh, well, I need it so I can call you and mom and I can stay in touch with you guys. Guess what? We didn't have that when we were younger. So if we want to go into these TED Talks that are like, oh, what was it like when you were young? I didn't have that shit. Sorry. But no, so then he automatically feels, okay, I need to let her have this. But instead, give her a fucking Nokia phone that you have to hit 3 times to get the letter K when you're texting somebody and there's no fucking internet or social media shit on it. You want to get hold of us? There you go. You don't need fucking internet. You don't need Snapchat. And guess what? Every time she's had it, what is it that you fucking tell me she does?
I don't know. I can't think straight.
She fucking cuts you off.
Oh, yeah.
She either blocks you, bans you, does whatever, completely ignores you, and you have no access to getting a hold of her, know what she's doing, any of that. Instead, she's running amok.
Yes.
Yes.
And I clarified that. I mean, I've reiterated it multiple times, but I made a point again to say, because I did not give her, I would not allow that nonsense. I said, but the whole point of you having the phone was so your dad and I could communicate with you, and you're not communicating with us. That's the only reason you should be having a phone, not any of the other stuff. So, okay. Boundary number 3, respectful communication. Many parents of teens say that disrespectful communication is one of the greatest challenges they have with their teens. Yeah. Setting some simple rules like no name calling, yelling, and excessively rude behavior can reduce the backtalk significantly. While consequences are important, also try to ignore a snarky mumble or some eye rolling that is just meant to get a rise out of you. Yes, there is just no need to acknowledge it or even let my teen know that I cared. Some negative behaviors are just silly, so I tried to focus on the disagreement instead of some of their immaturity. I got really good at this. I remember in the beginning it was really hard when she would call me a name or directly, but venting to my mom group and you and friends, and I realized, okay, and my therapist was key. Like, this is not about you. Definitely, she was tinging at my trauma and past. For me, immediately it felt embarrassing and shameful, and then realizing, okay, that's kind of where she's going for. But she does have a heart, because I've noticed she's bubbled this or that, but not openly when she first came out with the claws. So I know that on that stance. Also, I got to keep the boundaries for myself. And so immediately, if she starts the name calling or cussing, even cussing, I walk away from the conversation. We're done talking. Because believe me, at that moment, she wants to do lots of talking. So I noticed she noticed. If you want to keep communicating your side or whatever, keep this conversation going. I'm not gonna allow that form of communication. So, okay, you want to read this one? It says family responsibilities.
Each family member should have age-appropriate household chores to teach responsibility and contribute to the family's functioning. We actually try to practice this in our house. There should also be tasks that they learn to do themselves to develop life skills such as laundry, basic cooking, organizing, etc. And she used to be a great organizer. Like, she actually enjoyed like cleaning her room and organizing, and she would love to show it off. Like, oh, look how I did this and took care of that. She liked showing that off, like those skills of hers. And yeah, I haven't seen anything like that in a very long time with her. Even with the guinea pigs that you have, she actually stepped up for a little bit and was starting to take care of them, feed them, take care of their cage, cleaning, all those things. And again, there's definitely a need for something there.
Well, and I don't know if she was playing with me, but one thing that she said, because I said, honey, like just basic stuff, basic chores, whatever. She made a point to say, well, when I'm at dad's, I do all the things. I do the dishes, I clean up and take care of all the pets, and even babysit other children. Yeah, it was cool. But so she's like, so when I come home here, it's nice to have a break. So like part of me was like, oh, okay. But then again, I also think she got overwhelmed with all the friends because, I like to make food. I like to be a very kind person. I also like structure. I think a lot of the friends that she has doesn't have that structure, doesn't have that at least set line of respect in their homes. So I think they almost kind of, not that it probably was entertaining, but they also I watched one of them just sit and eat his bag of chips and watch the interaction between me and my daughter. Almost like this is how they handle these things, because, she was blowing up at me and I'm like, nope, number one rule, we don't do any of that kind of things, whatever. I'm not going to listen to this. And everybody's leaving right now. And but it was great. I think a lot of them also like to see, felt safe in my home and all these things. But at the end of the day, she even said to me, because we had to switch rooms, she just wanted to switch rooms, and she goes, I'm like, but you fought forever to have that room, that biggest room and the privacy and all that. You want to switch? She goes, well, I noticed my friends are coming over to hang out, but they're not coming over to hang out with me necessarily. So I think she got overwhelmed too. So yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that have come into play. Let's just get through this list because I want to play this last clip.
Do you have a comment?
Nope.
Okay.
You'll see a little one indicator. But yes, again, listeners, we're very much aware of you. Please feel free to interact. Okay. Privacy and personal space. Teen wants. Okay. This is, I'm like, this is.
Can I jump in on this?
Yes, please. We just talked about
this. Cracks me the fuck up. Okay, sorry. So, this cracks me so much. So speaking of, I think it was like 3 back, they talked about the having how they talk to you, the disrespect, the all that other stuff. That was one of Juliet and I's falling outs.
Oh yeah.
Was how she was behaving and acting towards me. And I get some of the rebellious stuff, so let it roll off my shoulder. But the continued lies and the pressed disrespect, not just to me, but to another adult who was in the house, she forgets she doesn't understand the hierarchy of things.
Right.
And how if it wasn't for us, she wouldn't have any of the things that she has. So for her to say the things that she does, it was a little bit of, I think, a rude awakening when I just took her door off of her room because she continuously, she liked to slam and lock the door so that no adult could go and talk to her.
Yeah.
And that was a big rude awakening. And she thought, well, my mom, this isn't going to stick. And my mom's whatever. She doesn't.
What happened when I came home? What's the first things I said?
You were thrilled, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes, you were thrilled that the door was off.
I was getting around.
In fact, when you moved rooms with her recently, you took the door off because you're like, nope, she needs to understand. And you know what? Here's the thing. I understand the privacy and all of those things. That is a big deal. And I respect my personal privacy, but also when you act out the way you do, you don't get certain things. Sorry. That's not.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yes. And privacy is something that's earned.
Yes. It's a privilege.
It is a privilege, and they don't understand that.
Well, 2 things. What's beautiful is I didn't feel bad when I was venting to another mom, one of her friends, and she was like, oh, yeah, I already took her door off and her closet door. Like, she's lost that privilege already with me. And the other element is when we switched the rooms, she had the door. It was that morning I woke up and all the friends are in her room in her bed that she lost the door that day. And of course, I was wise and, got everybody to school, did not react at all. As soon as they were all safe at school, boom, doors came off. They had no inkling that that's how I was going to handle the situation. But I realized there's no room for here. No room. Yes. I thought, wow, she really has the kahunas. Okay, well, we'll read on that quick though. Do you want to just read what it says?
Oh, sorry. Okay, so.
Don't read the bottom parts though.
Okay. Teens want privacy, and parents should do the best they can to respect that within reason.
Yes.
Ding, ding. Trust is a two-way street. So if your child knows you are constantly sneaking around and going through their stuff, they will learn that they need to sneak around and keep things from you. This is interesting, actually, because I feel like she was given so much freedom. And that was another big learning moment between her and I. Was she was being sneaky and posting things social media and having paraphernalia in the house, which we don't tolerate because we're a house of recovery.
Yep.
I went home and found out that she had skipped school, and so I started going through her stuff.
Yep.
And she got mad at me, and I said, "Where is it? Where's what?" And she wanted me to sit down and have a talk with her first, which she mentioned to you, I believe, afterwards. Like, she didn't need to just come in and go through my stuff. She could have talked to me. Well, you know what? Also, I could have went through her stuff behind her back.
Right.
I obviously went through it in front of her for a reason. Hey, yeah. I'm here. I'm present, and I give a shit. And I don't care if it pisses you off. You're going to watch me. because I'm not tolerating you lying either. I have given her multiple options to sit down and have conversations with me, and those have faltered through. So, but yeah, I love that this does say that it is a two-way street, and that it's not just saying that they need to have privacy.
Yes.
So definitely earned.
Okay. And anyone first time, because I haven't really shared on this at all really either, but let me give you some backstory. Like, you didn't just go 0 to 10 and do that. Okay. So I was in Washington, D.C. at Mobilized Recovery. I call you cry emotional because she accidentally shared stuff when she switched to Instagram and Facebook.
That was not
an
accident.
All like, no, it was because there was like 20 or 30 pictures that I had actually made that mistake myself. When you switch, if you don't click or unclick or whatever the box, it'll automatically in your story post a bunch. Anyway, so all this stuff, with paraphernalia and I love weed and all this stuff was at the forefront. Here I am in DC and I'm like, what? She's just openly, I didn't know any of that was from before. I thought that was all that day. Either way, I call you crying. My hands are tied. And I'm like, please just go up there, because this went on Facebook to everybody. Like, I didn't care what everybody thought, but I'm thinking, I don't know where she's at right now. I don't know who's whatever around her, but obviously she's just putting it out there. Like, for me, that was a cry for help.
Yes.
And of course, I'm not there. So I was so thankful that you stepped in, because if any other parent, any other person wanted to, they could have called the authorities on me, because, obviously that was looked unsafe and checked in. So I reminded her, I asked Sarah to do that, because at the end of the day, here I go with the end of the day. I'm not going to say that the rest of the show. It could have been the cops there.
Yes.
Looking through her stuff.
Well, I tried.
And if she's got nothing to hide, but I think she was worried. You didn't find anything, but I think she couldn't remember. Again, she's messing with her own brain development right now too. It's foggy. And a lot of this reminds me of my days, having a foggy mind every single day, not clear-minded. That's the one thing that I say gives me my power. I'm not powerless anymore over my addictions, because I always had less power. Yes. And anytime, any use. So now I have all the power because I have a clear mind. I know my truth, and nobody's going to shame me, or tell me what my truth is now. That's what recovery gives me. And that's what it seems so, I feel so frustrated, and it's heartbreaking, because I feel like I have all this wisdom and knowledge. And at this point, she's seen what I went through, and she understands. And yet, what it comes down to is that I feel I don't want to say hopeless, but I feel like I'm not that person that's able to give her that hope. I feel like right now what she's going through really is a cover for depression. And like you've noted, the circle of friends and switching and all these things. So again, I'm in the thick of it. And hopefully we can do a show not even a couple months from now, and there's a turnaround. But I'm going to utilize this time, because I'm not trying to hold some emotion back, because I'm heartbroken. But I'm going to use these days that she's gone and I miss her to take every minute that I don't have her and say, okay, what can I learn today to better our relationship, to pull us closer together, to take this time that, at this time, she's with her, going to be with her dad, that I'm going to make that point to make myself stronger and better equipped, for whatever she comes at me with, because I love her unconditionally. And I think I could give myself some peace, because I know that she knows that at the root of it. She knows unconditionally I love her. I'm not giving up on her. She's going to have this little pause, and I guarantee it's because a lot of it is she worries about her dad, She knows he lives by himself, and I think that communication piece, and she does want that quality time with him. Now she's done force herself, like it's going to happen. So I hope that she gets some of what she's seeking there. I worry about that, but she knows that I'm here. I'm not going nowhere. So, okay. Well, I think we got a couple more, and then we're done. Well, let's see. Oh, we got 15 minutes. Good. The alarm's about to go off. Okay. It says, I love this whole article. Again, everybody listening, please make sure you go check out. Oh, here we go. Last alarm. This article, it says, I don't care how many people warn us about this impeding stage. Nothing prepares our mom heart for the confusion and hurt that washes up onto the shore of our soul. Oh, I love that. They nailed it. I mean, How is it that all the love we have poured into our child from day one, the love that they have always welcomed with open arms, suddenly becomes an aggravation, an intrusion, and a source of frustration? How is it that basic questions and requests of them are now acts of war that result in backtalk and name calling? When did we become the worst person on the planet when just yesterday we were their everything? Isn't that beautiful? That is 100% encompasses. And so it says, just set those basic ground rules for respective communication, take a pause, don't engage with certain behaviors and teenage backtalk, follow through. So she is at her dad's right now because that's what is follow through. So, and then focus on problem solving skills instead of nagging. So that is definitely how I feel like I can have some peace with this, accepting the situation as it is, because I really feel like I have 4 other children, for goodness sakes. I have a lot going on too. So I've put in as much effort as I could possibly before, where it's tapping into my own well-being and mental health and recovery, because recovery is not just about substance use. It's about mental health. It's about all kinds of, deep-rooted stuff. So, okay. Any final thoughts? And then I'm going to play the last clip and we're going to do the memes quick.
No, I think we had a good conversation here tonight, especially just even at the end of it, just having some time to kind of talk and process this stuff out together outside of the house. I know I can feel the tension. I can cut it with a knife when I walk into the house.
Oh, yes.
And sometimes, and it's weird because not only am I mama bear coming out and worried, and I've shared some of my fears with you about Juliet, but it's also very hard to watch you go through a lot of the stuff that you have been going through, especially just because you are probably one of the more strong people that I know. And as a person in recovery, you're kind of my go-to for hope and light of sobriety. And to watch you struggle through this stuff, I literally, in the past week, I think I told you this, I've been having using dreams. I've been having dreams about Juliet. Like, it is putting so much stress on my brain. I fear that it's causing so much more to you as her mother. I don't know. It's a very stressful time for everybody involved. And it feels good to have an outlet tonight.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Sarah, I love you. Like, literally today, I was reserved and I just couldn't hide it anymore, but I was definitely on edge the whole day because I didn't know where she was. I have connections and people talking, but we did not have answers. And there was all kinds of rumors of where she was, left or not left. And there was just that moment you come, poor, I feel so bad when you were coming to check in on me. And I was like, I can't, I need my space right now. Because I knew I was on the edge and I didn't want to take it out that on you. And even the poor, Lily, she's always full energy. And I even noticed I was pushing all of you guys away. And I was like, I took a pause. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to let this affect every single person in this house, at least not today. And so I made a point to be like, Lily, get up here, come here. Okay, what are you hungry? But definitely I had to keep intentionally taking these, reminding my brain, myself, my heart, like, okay, I have no control over this. I've already extended what I can control, and I can't let this take over everybody around me as well, because she's not thinking of that. So it's not that she's this evil person. She's just thinking about herself,
Because she's not working with the grown-up part of her brain.
Right. No prefrontal cortex. DBT, thank you again.
Yes.
Dialectic behavior therapy gave me all this beautiful knowledge. I wish I would have had day one attempting recovery. I need the science facts because, yes, I'm a very spiritual person now.
With solutions.
And faith. Yes, direct solutions and skills and tools, and some I left, down that didn't work for me, and then some I still incorporate today, and some I try new ones or whatever. But I needed real answers. I needed real science facts and database evidence. Like, the spirituality piece has come back into play. But when you're broken and you're buried in darkness, and I had nobody, I didn't even feel like I was worthy enough to ask for forgiveness from my higher power. Don't come at me with a bunch of spiritual shit. I need facts. And so DBT from day, well, I fought that too. I'll be honest. This is because, but by then I was already, but that brought in hope for me to really see, oh, my brain can change. I can change. It took a lot of work, and it is possible. But now it's frustrating to see my daughter like possibly messing up those paths in her brain that's not gonna come back. Okay.
Exactly.
Last pro tip, and then we got the memes. Great memes, by the
The
way.
third aspect of this that I want to share with you involves the cerebellum. Now, although it's at the back of the brain, it too doesn't mature until our early 20s because it continues to grow during the teenage years. Jay Geed links the cerebellum to what he calls higher thought, maths, music, philosophy. So it's entirely possible that taking part in sport, or maybe even just running around, can stimulate learning at this higher level. It's interesting to hear this link between physical activity and learning, something many of us have felt intuitively to be true. And Socrates was right to complain that children were chattering rather than exercising.
Okay. And what I love about that is that's okay. Let me play the pro tip. Ooh, that's a pro tip sound effect. Okay, and that aligns with the last boundary, or 6 things or whatever. Ooh, just something weird in my phone. The last one is school or activity expectations, setting expectations regarding completion of school and homework, preparation, participation, but do not tie it to performance. The goal is for school and extracurriculars to be a stepping stone to responsibility and honoring commitments. So focus on the commitment, not the end result that may be out of their control. So it got down to just get to school. It got down to see, and she's so smart. She would manipulate that. And again, manipulate's not evil. Manipulate just means to change. So I think I got one up on her. Boom, she changes that. So, well, I went to school, so now I get to have my friend over. You said, well, I said that 2 weeks ago. That didn't really apply to, but I just didn't want to. I got into those petty, like I'm trying to win the war here, right? The war is she survives. We both survive this teenage years. And it's not going to be unscathed because now she's got a record. But I know that I'm putting it out there. But I love that he brings in that the physical element brings in that ability for higher learning, right? So Tony Robbins, I participated in, I could only do a couple days of it, but he starts off the whole like training or whatever thing is doing these. Okay, I felt dorky doing it, but it's just so motivating. There's billions of people doing it too, but you do these physical little exercises to get motivated, to get whatever. And I was pumped, right? But it was just literally physical little movements that got your brain, my body flowing to get ready to be inspired. But with the higher learning thing, what that video that I shared with you that we didn't get a chance, and maybe we could share it some later time, but I love that she said, you only have maybe 15 minutes, little moments of opportunities to have those open conversations with my daughter. And unfortunately, before this video, I wasn't even aware. Like, I think I did a pretty good job. You pointed out to me, thank you. But there was little windows that she was opening herself up to me to have these conversations. And she'd be like, oh, Bob, look at this video on TikTok. I hate TikTok. I hate social media. So immediately in my face of disgust and, oh, I don't want to see that or whatever. Shutting it down. Well, there was several times where those were little windows I didn't even notice were like an opportunity to get to know what she's interested in, know what she finds funny. And I know that sometimes, like Will Ferrell, there was one in there. Oh, I was all on board with that. But then if it was like, one where it's, I don't know, that I personally didn't feel interesting, I didn't engage. And that was moments to engage in those conversations. Now, bringing in those physical elements, I think like, I tried to do the volleyball thing. But again, I can't keep up with her. She's changed her mind. But even just, I rode my bike to school with her. Because it was like our last few days here of warm weather. And it was the only time I had to get my bike out after I fixed it. But she had to walk to school because she was late. And I was like, let me ride my bike. And I think that 10 minutes of getting her to school was like beautiful. And now I think a big part of that was because of the walking element and me also biking. But I think we had a deep moment there, and looking back now, I feel like we did have some kind of understanding and reasoning. Of course, that was out the window 2 days later, but at least that, now looking back, I can learn from that. And you listening can learn from that too, that all these things that I'm going to be sharing, that pro tips sharing with you, I'm going to be definitely engaging with them the next however long this is going to be. But you have this knowledge. And if you don't even have a teenager yet, you're welcome. Okay, Sarah, go ahead. And we got the memes.
No, and it's frustrating because every child is different. And I think it's more challenging when you have a child who is literally a child. She is, as you mentioned, a preteen. She's 12. She hasn't even hit 13 yet. Mm-hmm. And she is coming up on felony charges. Mm-hmm. She is skipping school. She is running away. These are things that you hear of kids who are in high school doing. Mm-hmm. It is incredibly challenging, especially when you go on YouTube and you find TED Talks and all they do is talk about kids rolling their eyes or back talking or these silly little things that really at the end of the day are whoop-de-fucking-do. Mm-hmm. I like having this conversation because not only was it good for you and I, but I'm hoping somebody else can maybe get a little something for themselves if they come facing into some of this stuff too. And I know we're not the only ones. I know of other parents who've had teenage children who at a very young age started acting out in this manner. Mm-hmm. And it is frustrating and nobody talks about it. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to say, yeah, I had the kid that this age started doing this. I don't know if it's shame or embarrassment or whatever, but them not talking up or sharing anything is not helpful to anybody.
Right.
So hopefully this does help somebody.
Right. And that's the thing is I've asked multiple women in my meetings and they're like, I don't know what to tell you. Nothing worked. So then I realized, okay, this is the kickback because I think there is a lot of shame, embarrassment or whatever, and regrets of how they treated their mothers or whatever. So now what I've learned is my next question is, well, did you have a lot of free time? Was your parents present? A lot of times now they're saying they didn't have a good relationships to start off or what they thought were good relationships. And then also, no, their mom was working. Their mom was not there. Their mom, or parent, whatever. So like I've had a lot of conflict with the co-parenting element. It's been almost a shit show in the sense of he's almost getting joy out of directly going against the wishes. Like we're supposed to be united as a team, and he gets on that page, and then something goes awry in his life, and boom, he wants to be only good cop, and then it completely makes her defy me more, and so throwing the hands up.
Her to lie to you.
Oh, and then don't even get me started on. Yep, like I love how one of the boundaries is, or one of the things they talk about is lead by example, right? Mm-hmm. So he was getting upset because I was sharing bits and pieces that he left out of the truth or totally faltered. But I live this life of honesty right now and openness and willingness. And yes, I could gauge it back. But when she's asking me direct questions, I'm not going to lie because that would obviously show that like how he's shown on his side. Yep, it goes against my values, but you're telling her not to lie, to be truthful. Yet as an adult, you're telling her to lie to the other adult or vice versa. And then you're not being truthful and you're not being forthcoming. And so like I saw this like circle of it's not like she is the 12-year-old. Okay. So the adults need to step up. And I started to just literally, that's my new thing now is screenshots. I broke my button. My phone. I can't screenshot it anymore. I had to take off the case because I thought it was that. No, I broke the screenshot button because I've been screenshotting the shit out of everything to back myself up, to make sure that my words are mindful. They're not thrown and twisted into whatever. Let me tell you, tunnel. Yeah, that's been going on. So, okay. So
memes.
Yes. And final pro tip I wanted to point out is it is so crucial. I think the reason I've been able to get to this point and not revert or digress or go into a complete depression myself is that I've reached out. I'm like Mondays have been my highlight. Okay. And especially being able to share about this, but also having you, having Mahana, having Marcy, having Cassandra, having people that even if they don't have that direct advice or whatever right away, knowing I have their love and support, knowing that I'm not in this alone. And that has made me feel, so I think last pro tip, definitely, let me the sound again, sorry, is that you got to reach out. I recommend finding that support group. Again, Badass Moms Club. But that's definitely a recovery one. There's a lot of badass mom groups on whatever social media that's not, they actually are doing some bad shit. But in recovery, I think finding those safe spaces. Okay. Therapy has been helpful. I've seen a therapist now again, and I've had her trying, but definitely having, for me, that recovery community for me is my family. And I think the element that comes into play that's different also with this whole subject and being in recovery or in the recovery arena is that my daughter, myself, yourself, a lot of us came from a home that doesn't factor into a lot of these videos that are out there.
Yes.
The fucking naive little bubbles. A lot of us grew up in a household where respect was earned. It was not just given. And I know, and I know my daughter saw, even if it wasn't directly from my actions, just outside elements that I allowed come in because I didn't know how to set boundaries. They've seen the worst of life already before even turning into a teenager. I saw the worst of fucking human beings right in my own home. And but I'm thankful to say I feel like I've broken that cycle in a sense, because no matter what, I've been consistent on the fact that I'm not going anywhere. There's nothing you can do that's going to make me give up on you, and yes, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I want you to be truthful. There's many times she's asked me very uncomfortable questions about her dad or the family or in-laws or whatever. And I definitely take time to think about how I'm going to communicate that. Being clear-minded makes a huge difference, let me tell you. But I'm not going to lie. And I'm not going to cover up shit. And there's no secrets, judgments, or lies or any of that shit in my house, because that's what Brene Brown says breeds shame.
Yes.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Name time. Okay. Oh, my favorite part. Gotta do the sound effects. So sorry about that. Oh my goodness. Sorry about the technical difficulties. The volume is just, it has a mind of its own. Okay, here we go. We're gonna go through them fast. Ready,
Okay.
Sarah? I'm pretty sure you've seen them. They're pretty straightforward. Let's hit the right buttons. Meme number 1. I hope you're still listening. Sorry, I might have scared some people off with those loud. You didn't hear them. I got the headphones on.
I heard him.
Oh goodness. Oh, one of my favorites. Okay, did you ever see Breaking Bad? That series?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. There's a guy.
Oh, I'm well aware of the whole like spiel behind Breaking Bad. So yes, it's the main actor, and he's sitting there in his whitey tighties, and it says, "What my neighbor sees when I go out to collect my Amazon packages." This is me, by the way. Seriously. Literally, especially like if I'm at Dan's house, I will run out in my underwear all the time to go get the dog and do whatever.
Oh, and I hate it because I'm like, oh, they left it there, not thinking, you get the notification. I've been a hot mess lately, just I'll give myself grace. I have not done the pajama pants, although my pajama pants are really just black pants, sweatpants, so you can't tell that they're actually pajama pants. But I'd be looking a hot mess, and one time I literally forgot that I had ordered Jimmy John's. So I'm going to get my packages. I'm being quick, and they're fast. They're freaky fast. And right, they pull up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, nightmare. Okay, next one. Describe. That's The Rock making a face of. How would you describe that?
I love this. This is a very young Rock. The shut your face look.
What did you just say?
It looks like he's got that look of like, yeah. What'd you just say? So what it reads is, when people who do meth be posting about the Bible. So yes, that face fits.
We gotta laugh at that. Okay, we'll just leave that one there. Okay, just words.
Be kind. Everyone is fighting in a fight club you know nothing about, because we don't talk about Fight Club. Very accurate. I think that sums up a lot of tonight's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful.
And I love it because you hear you don't know what anybody else is going through. Wah, wah, wah. First of all, my favorite movie of all time is Fight Club. You know this, Bob's Club. Second rule of Bob's Club is we don't talk about Bob's
Yeah.
Club. But I love how they said, nobody's talking about that. And that is a key element in recovery. Out loud, folks. We got to talk about it. Okay. Beautiful. Next meme. It's Mr. Bean.
Yep. When the Holy Ghost makes you delete the whole text and just reply with okay. And I love this face. I'm like, ugh, okay, just this cringe.
Oh my gosh. And especially when I come forth with a paragraph and I know it's worded great. And then I realize, oh shit, it's a paragraph. Can't do it. Can't do it. So I screenshot it, delete it. I send it to you. So somebody gets to see my wisdoms. And then I say, okay, or K.
Yeah,
I think that actually pisses them off more.
it does.
Okay. I love this one.
Me, when someone sees me in my ain't nobody gonna see me outfit. Oh shit.
Describe it.
Yes, it's just a face of like the
Oh,
the
no.
face kind of tucked back, and he's like, oh crap. Ooh, somebody's not seeing me.
And here's my ass just happened. I went, Walmart. I've been going there a lot lately, mostly because I'm so broke and they are the cheapest when it comes to food buying purchases things. And I'm like, it's Walmart. I ain't gonna run into, but guess who I ran into? Looking like a hot mess. One of the people I used to work with at the city. One of my favorite people. Now he's retired. And of course, I'm like, in the moment, I'm like, no, don't, I don't want to say hi because he's gonna see me. Like, oh wow, that's what happened to you after leaving the city. But then I didn't care. I don't care. And I was like, hey. And we talked for the whole time I've been lying. But it was really nice because I made sure to be like, well, I have a podcast now. I do the radio station, But I just made a point to say I have a career now that I feel passionate about. And I think no matter what my hot mess looked like, you could also see I was happy.
Yes, exactly. All right, just words. Instructor, welcome to salsa class. Who's ready to learn how to dance? Me, hiding a bag of tortilla chips. There's been a misunderstanding. This is, what's funny is before it even got to that, as soon as it said salsa class, I'm like, salsa.
Yes.
That's because I went and bought salsa the other day, isn't it?
Spicy. Beautiful.
All right. Oh, yeah, and I do love this one. So it's a picture of the McRib from McDonald's. And the quote reads, the McRib is the deadbeat dad of the fast food world. It comes around once a year, and we're all supposed to act excited.
Ooh, we're going to leave that one there.
Yeah, and I think we should just end.
We got two more.
We won't say anything on that.
Yeah.
He'll just leave it be.
And McRib is nasty. My teenage son, who's now an adult. He's now 18, though. He's actually come to the realization McRib's not that great. That's just beautiful advertisement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Two more.
Your karma is based off your intent. Your heart can't lie to the universe. True.
Don't you love that?
I do. There's a lot of theories by the way I know we speak of karma in a you do this and you get this back type thing. But this is actually what karma really is.
Yes.
Is this intention. So what you really feel and what you have going on deep down inside of you is what you're going to get in return. It has nothing to do with, it kind of does, but it doesn't. If you know what I'm saying. Yes.
Because I definitely still be acting certain ways and setting out certain things for people that are rude to me. I know maybe I shouldn't respond this way, but I don't feel bad about it because somebody needs to call them out. Obviously, they keep going around acting like an asshole. And see, I'm not going to be like, you're an asshole, but I'll make a point to maybe have a interaction that just clarifies what you just said and acted and did. Not good. Not good. Not a good look. But I love the intent because for me, when I was early in recovery and I just felt like, oh my gosh, nobody's ever gonna, I have no value. Like I'm so embarrassed, ashamed. Nobody's gonna even give me that grace and I deserve all the bad karma. I feel like my spirit guide, the universe, the higher power, whatever you want to call it, knew my true intentions, knew my heart was in it to the full capacity that I was capable of doing it, even though I was kind of a huge mess for a while. I feel like karma knew, and that's what they always say, the promises come true or whatever, but things started to fall into place. And all I was focusing on, I wasn't focusing on big plans at all. It was just those little moments of I'm gonna do the next right thing. Oh, mess that up. I'm gonna do the next right thing, the next right thing, the next right thing, because I was able to quickly move on, not know that I was trying. I was trying my hardest.
Yes.
Next one.
All right, last one.
I don't know who that is.
The only people you are mad at. Wait, sorry. Let me back this up. The only people who are mad at you for speaking the truth are those people who are living a lie. Keep speaking the truth. Yes,
Beautiful.
this is very accurate.
And I think it just speaks for itself.
It does.
So, and that's the reality. I think a lot of times I'm naive and I don't see it right away. But definitely on the other side of things, I'm glad I've had you. I'm glad I've had those good, positive people in my life, because when I realized the other side was blaming me, was yelling at me and shaming me, I realized I was questioning myself. That's why I knew I needed to go to Mondays. But I know I was really just, I'm not lying. This is the truth. Why do I have to keep re-explaining myself? Why am I defending myself again? What is going on here? Oh, gaslighting. But the reality was, I realized there was a whole bunch of lies coming from that side of things. I got a couple phone calls, and I realized, oh, it was so validating to realize, okay, I've got no reason to hide or to hinder anything. I'm just gonna keep living. You with the cops coming up, Sarah. This is like, for me, that's like a whoop all up. But I'm like, nope. Go in my house. Come see it. No, I know this name and that name, but yes, I said this. And this is what they said to me. Again, very minimal information. But I have all the reasons to be truthful, and I can feel rested in that. So, okay, everybody, any final words, Sarah?
No, just thanks for having me on the show, and hopefully, we'll just keep doing this one day at a time.
Yeah. Beautiful, and keep it simple. All right, everybody. Hope you had a good holiday. I gained like 5 pounds. I made all the foods. I had to eat all the leftovers. So, and I'll see you next week. Have a great week. And where's that beautiful inspirational music? It's literally the song. Do you see it? It's called Returning Home.